folks, the Reliant series of ships are excellent starter ships that also excel at combat. In 315, I'd easily recommend anyone to get a Core or a Tana as a cheap multi-role ship that kicks butt at bounty hunting. The only difference between them is that the Core has more cargo space, whereas the Tana has a boatload of missiles. Here, we're going to take the Tana into some VHRT missions, but we won't use the missiles to show the viability of all the Reliants. So let's get into it. So we're using a full loadout of laser repeaters here. By default, the Tana has gimbaled size 1 and size 3 weapons, but you can change your loadout and add the Reliant Toshima turrets from Dumper's Depot in Area 18 to give you a total of 6 size 2 guns like we're using here. The resulting DPS is excellent, and I would say it's a must-have, at least in patch 314 and 315 as well. The Core comes with these turrets by default, so that's an extra step you can skip there. In this VHRT, we're first fighting against a Valkyrie. We're fortunately agile enough to keep it in our sights, and we're able to take it out pretty quickly by keeping our power settings to have max capacitor on the weapons. Now we check the other two targets that spawned in just now. One of them's a Warden, and one of them's a Hurricane. We're going to go after that Warden first because it's going to be a much easier target to take out. It's slower, and it's also got less hull HP than the Hurricane. You can see that we're using our agility advantage to literally fly rings around the Warden. It's only got a split second when we're within its sights, and we're easily able to take it down. We did take a bunch of extra fire from the Hurricane that was flying around us during that time, so we put our power settings to shield for a bit while we used the ammo that was already stored up to do a little bit of chip damage to that Hurricane. We put our cap back to weapons and get ready to engage now that our shields are back up. Here you can see the Hurricane is trying to joust us. It's trying to constantly charge at us and fly past us over and over. It's got a lot of HP and good DPS, so it can often win in those type of engagements. We don't want to keep doing that, so I'm going to start trying to focus on my piloting to do my best to start to get around it when it starts to do more of that jousting. So here you see as he jousts us this time, I'm going to start corkscrewing to try and shake off a little bit of his damage, and then I'm going to focus on side strafing and pushing up to get onto his side. Now he's got to rotate around to get back to us, and then I'm going to make the same maneuver again. You can see my shields are not really going down. I'm successfully evading his fire with my corkscrew side strafe maneuver, and I keep doing it in such a way that he never gets behind me. I keep him in my sights, and so I'm able to keep the DPS on, not let him recharge his shields, and take him down. This next VHRT, we're starting off with a Hurricane. We pop off some of our decoys to get rid of the missiles that they always fire at us, and we're going to close the distance at our SCM speed so that we don't lose any of our maneuvering agility, so that we can try that same type of flying maneuver against him. You can see he gets to the edge of our vision, but we're able to never let him get fully behind us, and then we're able to start unloading on him. We do a better job that time. He stays near the center of our target the whole time. We want to keep our nose on him as much as possible, keeping in mind the direction that he's flying in and starting to lead our turns ahead of him so that we can essentially predict him with our shots. You can see that we're using a lag pip here, so the targeting indicator shows where our shots are going to land, and as long as it turns green when we're on him or near him, then we're going to take him out like that. This last bit of combat that I want to show you is about highlighting some of the power management that you're going to probably want to do. We're against an Anvil Valkyrie, which is not a pushover, but it's not a difficult target. They do have high DPS though, and in the Tana or any Reliant, you're kind of a large target, so you will probably take some shots. Here you can see I went down to 20% shield, and then I immediately put my power settings to shield. But that was a waste. It takes 5 seconds after you take a shot before your shields start recharging. So putting your power to shields right away is not going to do anything for 5 seconds. You're better off keeping the power on weapons for those 5 seconds, counting them down mentally in your head, and once you've been clear for 5 seconds, you can put it on shield and you'll get your full shield back in only a couple of seconds. So if I had done that, it would have been a little bit more efficient, but it's not a problem anyway. You've got so much DPS. This ship is great. So this is what my ship ended up looking like after 9 straight VHRT missions. It's a little bit dinged up, it's missing one little fin on the tail there, but overall it's in great shape. None of the hull parts were in the red, I still have all my guns. I never used any of my missiles either, so you can imagine it only gets stronger if you actually want to fire your missiles. So let's go and talk about the fit. Like I mentioned earlier, you want to get your setup so that you're using 6 size 2 weapons. You can see I've got those wingtip Toshiba turrets on there so that you replace the size 3s on the wingtips to 2 times size 2s. That's the way you want to do it. I like to add even more missiles even though I wasn't using them here, so I change out my 4 size 1s instead of the 2 size 2s that come by default. You end up with 84,000 damage worth of missile damage this way. It's crazy. In 315, you don't really get any value out of stealth, so there's no point in changing the power plant as long as it gives you enough power. You do want to change the shields though, and the best shields that you want to use is the grade A civilian shields. So that's what I have on here. And as with all size 1 ships, I put on the Atlas Quantum Drive so that you can get anywhere on the verse in just one tank. And I just want to point out, you can fit any of the Reliants the exact same way. The other ones just don't come with those 16 size 2 missiles, but other than that, they're equally capable. Well, that's it for the Reliant series. I hope you folks have liked it. Cheers.